No.
Yeah. Sorry, we're joining you from
Our
the
office, not
the
in fact
newsroom today because our studio, which is still would have been where we would have been going live from, but some issue with the software, which means that we're coming from our old location where we used to come live pretty often. If you were joining us through last year for all our build up to the India versus South Africa series that was played in South Africa. So different setup, but it's pretty quiet today, Sunday. So office is, everyone else is enjoying a good weekend. But sports, we never get a weekend off.
This is our
because-
good weekend, actually.
Yeah,
The fact that we're going to watch the match. Yeah?
that is indeed. I agree. It is a good weekend, and we never get offs on weekends because all the time you have some sort of sport
Sporting
happening.
event.
Yes, if it's not cricket, then it's something else. Wimbledon starts today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, 27th.
Yeah, usually it
Always
is.
on a Monday. Yeah.
That's correct. Yuk Parmar is here. He wants to know, is it raining? Not at the moment. We heard it was raining a bit earlier, a few hours ago. It was raining in Dublin, the venue of where the match is going to be played, first of the two T20Is. But at the moment, not raining. And as you can read, breaking news there that Umran Malik is making
His debut. He's been handed
Yes.
his cap.
Yes.
So obviously big. That's probably the biggest news out of today because I think if we're talking debutants, I think a lot of people were excited to see Umran get that chance in the national team
This is not the biggest news of the day, though.
for this match.
For this match, yes.
Yeah.
Biggest news of the day is Rohit Sharma has tested positive
Yeah, that
for
was.
COVID-19.
Yeah. Woke up to that one. Yeah.
Yes. And which means there is no, as you're asking, what is the update on Rohit Sharma? He's undergone an RT-PCR test. Once that report is out, we'll confirm. But just letting you know from the limited knowledge that we have of medical science and having lived and gone through COVID ourselves, when it comes in a rapid antigen test, if it tests positive, more often than not, the RT-PCR
It is a legit positive.
yeah, RT-PCR will be positive. It's usually, it could be a negative in a rapid antigen, and then RT-PCR can confirm the positive nature of COVID-19 if you have it. So as of now, doesn't seem likely that he will return a negative test, but never say never. We don't know. We'll wait for the official confirmation. But if things stand the way you've already seen in terms of the rapid antigen, if the RT-PCR is positive, which means there's no way, 3 days to go for the test match, there's no way that he will.
Yeah, unless it's a
relevant.
false. Unless it's a false. But
That's
it
what I'm
seems
saying.
unlikely.
Unless he returns a negative test. If not, then there is no chance.
Then we could very well be in for Jasprit Bumrah, Indian Test
Yes.
captain.
You sure? Jasprit Bumrah. He was the vice captain, but
Yeah.
I don't think they announced a vice captain on this.
No, officially speaking, I don't think they have.
Yeah.
But that's why I think most people seem to be leaning towards.
Yeah. No, I think so too. I think the most logical option is to go in with your vice captain from the previous series, that was Jasprit Bumrah. There are other options, and why I say other option, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't have thought of Virat Kohli captaining because he's given up the captaincy. There's no way that you're going back to him. But because this is that series that Virat Kohli started as a captain, and because he is going to now, continuing that series that was left last year, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
I won't be surprised if the Indian team management offers him the captaincy.
You see out this series, which you actually gave us
Yeah.
a lead in, and yeah, why not? Makes
Yeah. So I won't be surprised they offer him the captaincy. The only thing could be that Virat himself says no.
No.
I don't want to go back. Once I've decided to give it up, I don't want to go back. So
which would make sense also.
yes. So thank you for all your comments. I saw there was a super chat. I'm sorry, there were too many comments. A lot of people asked about, the
Sanju
update
and-
on Sanju, Arshdeep, as well as what happens with Rohit Sharma. We've tried to give you,
I think it's lower than that, as in now. Further down.
yeah. No, I think we missed it. It just disappears,
Disappeared.
right?
Oh,
No,
there
it is.
There it is. Here we go.
So Sahil Kush was eagerly waiting for your live.
Journalist
Sahil,
from Australia, yes.
thank you so much, Sahil. I saw someone joining us from Leicester, someone joining us from Australia. So it's lovely to have all of you. I'm very excited. we're getting to see some cricket again, the start of the UK leg of the Indian team. And I'm looking forward to a lot of youngsters. One of them, Umran Malik, making his debut.
Debut already. I think that's something that a lot of people were looking forward to.
Okay, so what does that tell you? What I think, Sarat Chandra wants to know the RT-PCR test. That report is still not out. As soon as we get to know, we will do a breaking. In terms of debuts, I don't think there will be any more debuts. So most likely you can conclude that Arshdeep
It's still sitting
is not
out.
playing.
Yeah.
So the only changes now will happen in terms of players that come in that have already played for India. Sorry, there is a point. No, you want. Is there a question you want us to take? No. Oh, we can see. No problem. You just tell me if the audio and everything is good, Shivam. This we can see. We can answer the questions here directly. You don't need to know that. So no more debut. So only one debut, which means no Arshdeep coming in.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of other options.
Yeah,
so
returns, I think there'll be a few. Sanju could be getting a game. Could be, potentially. If you see him as a middle order bat, there's no Shreyas there, there's no Rishabh there. Of course, we know Sky would be wanting to make a comeback.
no, so one spot is done with Surya Kumar Yadav
So
coming.
Sky is there for sure.
So now was one spot that remains in the middle order. Only one spot. Now again, I'm just talking about batting.
Yeah.
Only one spot remains for a batsman to come in. And who are your contenders? There is Sanju Samson, Deepak Huda, Venkatesh Iyer.
Yes.
Who else have you got? Any more?
I think these would be the main.
Yeah, Rahul Tripathi.
Oh, yes, Rahul Tripathi, of course.
So 4 guys, they will all be. No, I can see it. I'll take
Also,
it from
but I
there.
think
can-
Tripathi, if he was making his debut, we would know because he's never played
Yes.
for India.
So
he's
Tripathi is not
getting
coming.
that look, eh?
So one slot, and then you got Sanju Samson, Deepak Huda, and Venkatesh Iyer. 3 options, 1 slot.
Yeah.
And I reckon that slot may go to a Deepak Huda because he's the incumbent, as in who was sitting on the bench. So was Venkatesh Iyer, by the way.
Yeah, so-
But I think Venkatesh Iyer most likely is the backup for Hardik Pandya.
And Hardik is captaining and
Yeah, so
fully
he's
fit,
playing.
so yeah.
Dinesh Karthik is playing. So most likely it is between Deepak Huda, Sanju Samson. One of them between Deepak Huda, Sanju Samson should make it to the 11.
Yeah.
Actually, technically, both can make it too.
If
ask me now.
Ruturaj?
No. So what you could do, what the Indian management can look to do is you drop a spinner in Akshar Patel, you play that one spinner in UZ, and so the second spinning option could be a Deepak Huda, considering you may not use too many spinners.
True.
So the fifth bowler could be, let's say, 2 overs of a Deepak Huda and 2 overs of a Hardik Pandya.
Yeah.
Or something like that. In which case, then you can have a Deepak Huda and Sanju Samson.
Correct,
Or
yeah.
the other option is you have another fast bowler coming in for Akshar,
Hmm.
and then 3 fast bowlers that you go in with, and 1 spinner.
Yeah.
So in which case, then you have your Bhuvaneshwar, Umran Malik. Now that he's making his debut, we can confirm. Then there's Avesh, and then there is Harshal Patel.
Yes.
And you go with 4 and reduce 1 spinner. You could even go with that. So multiple options. I'll try and take a few questions. First, super chat, and this comes from my cousin from Canada. He says, I will give up anything to see Virat Kohli captain one last time, but he will say no. Good point,
Yeah,
Ankit.
that's what I think he would say as well. I don't
But,
think he'd.
but the only thing Ankit's comment, who sent us a super chat from Canada, the only thing I'm surprised with this comment is one last time. Again, I say never, because he may have given up the captaincy now, and he's decided. Maybe the Indian team management never looks at him, but sometimes circumstances. I give an example of Sachin Tendulkar. You know, was captain, left it, thought we'll never see him as captain.
Then he
again.
came back as
Came
captain,
back.
yeah.
But again, didn't turn out that
Great,
It's not that he continued being captain for very long. He left that captaincy. That's another matter. But you never say never, because in circumstances, sometime injury, and maybe he's in a phase of mind right now where he doesn't want to be. Maybe
True.
if he's firing on all cylinder and reaches a stage, maybe 3 years from now, and he thinks he can contribute for a few more years, or there is a stopgap where you've got a young white ball captain and you need a test captain for a few years
So
for that
stable
transition
option,
to
yeah.
happen. I mean, multiple things can happen. So never say never. For all you know, there could be a possibility that someone like Virat comes back. But as a Virat fan, as Ankit, who just sent in, I know he's a big Virat fan, he would love to see him captain. And I think it wouldn't be a bad idea, because he started off this series. In fact, the talk ahead of this series was, considering if India drew the match or won it, that means they would have won
Won
the
the series, yeah.
Would Rohit, because at that time it was Rohit who was going to captain.
Correct.
Now because of COVID, the equation and the whole setup has changed. But the question was, would Rohit invite Virat to come and share the trophy?
Right, yes.
Because 2-1 came under him. And to that question, I had answered, I think so.
Yeah,
if
it
that
would
would
be
have
logical,
happened,
yes.
he would have called him. But now, for all you don't really need to. Maybe
just they send Virat only, regardless
yeah,
of the captain.
yeah.
Huh?
I don't know. I'd love to know from you guys. Would you be, because we were having this discussion off camera and with a few other folks in office, and the discussion was that no, even if Virat is offered, he may say no, and not no because he doesn't want to captain, but because there will be a lot of in terms of criticism coming on social media. And so that may be the reason why he may
But
not.
that comes either way, right? Because even if he says no or if he says yes, there will still be people who will criticize him. Either which
No,
way.
you may not get to know.
Ah,
Let's
that's
say they
also
offered
possible.
him and he says
privately.
no,
Yeah.
we may not get to know. But I don't know. I don't see any sort of criticism. Why should any criticism come his way? I mean, if he takes it up.
I agree.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's a lot of people who will find any reason to.
No, but I mean, I understand. People may troll him that, oh, you gave her the captaincy, why are you taking it up? But as I said, that this is a different. It's not a regular test series, like a new test series, and then it would be a bit awkward that why
this
are
is
you
a
coming
continuation of a
Correct.
test series which he was captaining
Correct.
and gave them the lead too.
back? Correct. So he could just come out and say now that he could come on the press and say, listen, I've decided I don't want to continue, and I made it very clear as India captain because I wanted to concentrate on batting. But because of the circumstances, Rohit having to pull out at the 11th hour, and because I had captained the start of
Previously,
the
yeah.
series, so they asked me, and I said, yeah, why not one more test? I could. I mean, imagine what a fairy tale that would be if India were
Yeah,
to win or even
absolutely.
draw that test match.
Yeah, because it confirms the test series win. Even a draw works.
Yep, that'd be incredible. So could be an option. Just getting back to some more question. Prince Jain is saying that there are news reports that India is doing wait and watch thing with Rohit Sharma. Of course, they're going to do wait and watch. But let's be realistic. If you tested positive now, and you know that this is not an old case that we're getting to know now, because a day before he was on the field. So if that test has come positive, it's happened today, and if it is confirmed with an RT-PCR, which we'll get to know very soon,
Then
if it gets confirmed, I don't know of any COVID case in 3 days it could turn around. It won't happen. I mean,
No.
you may be a Rohit fan. All of us are Rohit Sharma fans. We'd love to see him play. You don't want the captain to be injured. But let's be realistic here. If the test has come now, there is no way that, again, as I said, if the RT-PCR confirms, which most likely it will, there is no chance he can make the test match.
No, because again, as you say, it's not an old case because he boarded the flight. So he clearly tested negative before boarding that flight.
No, he was playing a warm-up match.
And he was playing the warm-up match and just,
He batted. He was out on the field the day before.
He was also roaming around taking pictures with fans. So he was...
Yeah.
And that's something which now, in hindsight, you can say...
So people actually pointed out, when I did the breaking news in the morning about Rohit Sharma, a lot of people said that, listen, you guys were criticizing Ravi Shastri when he went for a book function last time around. And he tested positive, and a lot of flack came his way that he shouldn't have been doing it. And why are you not saying the same for Rohit Sharma? So I just want to make a bit of a clarification on that. So the difference is, at that time, you were still in a it was a bubble, albeit it was a soft bubble. So why did you have to break that soft bubble? That was the big issue at the time, and maybe they shouldn't have, and that is why the criticism came towards Ravi Shastri. Shouldn't have had a public function, could have been done after the series was over, right? So that was it. Currently, why you really can't point a finger at Rohit or whatever, because there is no bubble. There is, forget about bubble in cricket, there is no even masks that are mandatory in the UK.
And in UK, so they're having sporting events now for the last few months with full capacity crowds. Mask mandates are gone. There's no COVID regulations that are followed. I mean, if people want to wear masks, that's their prerogative, but it's not compulsory.
So he's done nothing, again, technically wrong in meeting fans. He could have, though, if you remember, we also reported on Sports Today, treasurer of the BCCI, Arun Dhumal, had said that we've told players to be a bit more careful and not, mingle too much with fans or locals, because there is a chance you could get COVID. And I understand that concern. But no matter how much precaution you take, now because there is no bubble, you will come in contact with someone in the hotel lobby
Yeah,
or your
yeah,
because there is no bubble. You got to understand that. So it's next to impossible then to protect yourself. The best anyone can do is try and avoid public gatherings. Try and wear a mask all the time. I mean, these are things that you could have done, and we don't know for sure whether Rohit was following that or not. So you can't criticize or in this case pinpoint anything towards Rohit because you don't know what kind of precautions he was taking. This test is positive, as I said, in the current circumstances with no bubble. It's
always a risk.
yeah.
And I mean, let's be fair, even the practice matches happening in front of crowds, there was mingling there as well. So
Yeah, it's fair game. And anyway, now if you've seen that video again on Sports Today, I keep plugging those about Virat Kohli, how he got upset with some fans. Fans were upset that Nagarkoti wasn't posing for a picture.
yes.
So that is another thing that you have to look at. If you don't oblige fans, then they
They were booing
sometimes
the guy. I mean, come on.
yeah. So they turn hostile. In which case, it's a catch-22. Do you then oblige the fans, or do you then stay aloof because of the coronavirus? So yes, as Big Boy is pointing out, it is overcast in Dublin right now. But if you've seen the visuals just a short while ago, when the debut cap was given
It
to
looked okay,
Umran, it
yeah.
looked just fine. There is rain forecast. We've also turned weathermen because after we quite often have to do that. in
You
cricket.
have to, yeah.
Bangalore T20 I got washed out. The next T20 I also suggests there is 70% chance of rain. But let me tell you, with my limited knowledge of these weather forecasts, 70% means that there could be periods of time where there could be no rain, and then there'll be periods of time that there will be any rain.
Yeah.
So we don't know how that pans out, whether the toss happens on time and then you start batting. Then if the rain comes later, as you saw in the Bangalore T20, then the game could be shortened. So it's going to be all fluid. We'll keep bringing you the updates.
In
That's
fact, let's
for
check
sure.
about the toss because I think it is it's 8:32.
Yeah.
So
Shivam, anybody? Toss?
let me try and stream it on my phone with no volume.
Yeah, that's fine. Rahul Vasudev from Australia says Bumrah will captain the side in Rohit's absence, Shubman and Pujara to open, and Bihari at 3 or vice versa, Shreyas at 5. Everything depends on bowling. So let me address all of those one by one, Rahul. Bumrah will captain the side in Rohit's absence. I would have to agree with you. I think that's the most logical thing that will happen. The outside chance, as I said, if they approach a Virat Kohli, and provided Virat is okay with that option, then maybe that's an outside chance. But I agree, the most obvious choice was going to be Jasprit Bumrah. He was the vice captain before this. So he comes in place of Rohit Sharma. Shubman and Pujara to open, also I think the most logical. I know people are talking about KS Bharat, that he could be the one who opens. But now I think because you got Pujara and there was a whole debate that between Pujara and Bihari only one will play, I think that conundrum has solved itself. So with the bad news that Rohit will miss out comes some good news in terms of how you're going to now fit in players in your 11. So and again, Pujara has opened for India in test matches before. So he will be opening with Shubman. I agree. Bihari then comes at 3, which was the batting position that he was batting on in the matches before the last test series against Sri Lanka. That's where he was batting. So you continue with him there. Shreyas was batting at 5 earlier in the series, did well.
And of course, remember yesterday's match, he got 2 chances to go out there and bat. So I'm pretty sure that they are wanting to give him as much time, which is as clear a hint as possible.
No, he would have played. See, again, the last test series he was playing, did well at that position. So how do you drop him?
Exactly. You can't.
Didn't make sense. So again, Shreyas then comes in at 5. So this is most likelihood, Rahul. That's also what we've been saying. If you joined us yesterday on the dugout, you said that this could be most likely the playing 11. Nitesh wants to know, is Ashwin back in England? Yes, he's there. He didn't play the practice game because he's just recovered from COVID,
He
and
flew
they
in the
thought
last
that
minute also,
they thought
yeah.
that it's best that not to exert him immediately after recovering. So he is there. Again, will be very tough for him to be part of that 11. I mean, again, it's got nothing to do with COVID or his fitness. It's just the combination of the team and looking at how they approached the last series. Most likely it's Jadeja, that one-off spinner.
And again, remember yesterday Jadeja too batted twice.
Yeah.
So
He
quite
is
clearly
going
the
to-
favourite to be starting in that position.
Absolutely. Ron Weasley says, shouldn't Pant be the captain if Rohit isn't there? If Bumrah captains, that means 7th captain in 6 months.
Yeah, but
That's true.
across formats, I think, I don't know, would you want to put that pressure on Pant now?
No.
Especially considering as a test batsman, he's actually very good. He's
Yeah.
probably your star batsman right now in that sense.
No, so if that was the case, then you should have looked at Pant as the vice captain earlier. You did not.
Yes.
So in which case, Bumrah is the first. Again, there is no guarantee. By the way, if you've followed Indian cricket for the longest time, you know that vice captaincy doesn't really guarantee you that
Step
you
up to
will
the
become.
captaincy. Yeah,
that
correct.
doesn't guarantee you that you will be captain. But having said that, you never know. Pant could be an option that they go for, but I think most likely Jasprit Bumrah. I keep repeating, outside chance. We love it. What a
fast bowling
fairy
captain.
tale.
I know.
No, and what a fairy tale if Virat comes in. Imagine. Fast bowling captain also I would want. I think bowlers are treated very unfairly. Give them a chance
Exactly.
to captain. Toss has been delayed. Yes, we
Yeah,
got.
because
So obviously due to rain it has been delayed. Thank you for those of you who told us that. In terms of Ashwin, as you were pointing out,
That he
Rohit
was
says, yeah, he was bowling today. So,
so the toss is in 4 odd minutes now.
Okay.
That's the news we have.
Piyush Roy says Ben Fowkes also tested positive yesterday. ECB says that he'll be available for the test. I think he tested positive a bit earlier. You may have gotten to know
about it
yesterday.
later on, yeah.
Again, I don't know of a case where you're available just 3 days after
3
testing
days
positive.
afterwards,
No.
yeah.
What happened? I'll just give an example of Ashwin. He had tested negative, flew into England, still didn't play the practice game because you want to take some time.
Exactly.
I don't think. Again, I wait for the RT-PCR. If that confirms that Rohit is still positive, trust me, I'll stick my neck out and say that he won't then be playing.
Because already
the
it's not
test
like
match.
England don't have keeper options.
Yeah.
They brought in Sam Billings just as a sub, like for like. They have Besto in the squad. So, yeah.
Ikpreet Singh is saying, don't you think now in this emergency situation, Virat can do the captaincy for just this match as Bumrah has any experience? Can Rahul asked to do captaincy just for this match? But Rahul is not available.
No, I think he means the coach.
Coach being captain.
No, ask that Rahul Dravid will ask Kohli to captain.
Oh
this
yeah,
first one.
yeah.
That makes
We've been
perfect
saying.
sense. Yeah.
In fact, that's what I said, that maybe as a one-off option. Again, I'm saying that this is not a permanent option. This is not something where you're telling Virat to think of taking Indian captaincy back. No, this is a series where he was captain for most part of it. Now, emergency situation, go to him. You need experience, someone who's captain, and yeah, I think that I would, again, if I was in Rahul Dravid's shoes, and I would have approached Virat and asked him. And then depending on what he says, and if I was Virat Kohli also, I would take this opportunity not because I'm taking India's captaincy back. Yes, he's made up his mind. I understand. He may not want to captain again, but this is a continuation of that series.
And finish off your captaincy reign on a high. Finish with one, series win.
Yeah.
And especially considering how poorly the South Africa series went, you can say that someone who's brought you that much success, give him that one chance to sign off on a high.
I think whatever little I know of Rahul Dravid, he will have this conversation for sure.
At the very least, whether or not Kohli accepts it, now I think that's his prerogative.
Yeah, Rahul Dravid will have that conversation. So, be interesting few days coming up. Vansh is saying if Rohit doesn't play this test match, then I want him to play full T20s. Vansh,
Pretty
he
sure
will.
he would. Pretty sure he would.
He will. Again, this is something we had reported earlier where there was news report doing the round that India might play again this young team for the T20 as in England. I've spoken to a few people. They don't seem to have knowledge of this. They insist that the top team will play. Maybe the first T20I, you may still see a few youngsters because the test players, if it's gone for 5 days, they may not immediately with that 1 day gap.
You will have a 1 day recovery, which is not much.
So yeah, if that's the case, maybe. But then if Rohit does miss out, if he does test positive, he misses out, then he can clearly be available for the T20 and he should then play all the T20Is. Mridul Krishna is saying excited to see Umran bowl. So am I.
Aren't we all?
So am I. And by the way, I think, again, credit to the team management. It's a nice way of introducing him into international cricket because remember, you're not playing the strongest opposition. You're playing in conditions that will help fast bowling.
Yes.
You're playing in a format which you have to bowl 4 overs. So all of that put together, I think it's a nice initiation to give him confidence, to ease him into international cricket, if I can say. Great way of doing it. So yeah, I'm also looking forward to it.
Because 4 overs means he can bowl full tilt, which is what he's when he's at his best.
Yeah.
4 overs, go out there, and remember this island team, as you're saying, not only are they not the strongest, they're also trying out a few kills. So it's a transitional series in a way for them as well.
Yeah. Why not Ashdeep was a question. Sorry, I missed your name, but valid question that if you wanted to give a chance.
Yeah.
Now, Ashdeep's also been waiting in the wings. You may be looking at a left arm bowler.
Yeah, and that's the one advantage he has over pretty much anyone else, that left arm option.
Yeah. If you're gonna but then I go back to what Hardik Pandya was saying, that he is going to play the strongest 11. So India has won the toss. So
I
good
think
luck
they will
for
choose to
Hardik.
bowl.
Continues.
Yeah, choose to bowl.
India have decided to bowl. They won the toss. Somebody was asking when's the toss. We just told
We
you.
just
Big
gave you
Boy
that
also
update.
told us.
Yes, they've chosen to bowl, which again, not much of a surprise. So new captain and some change in luck in terms of the toss.
Yes.
Pant had torrid luck when it came to that.
Yep. There was a question. Okay, Nitesh is saying Nikhil was so many left-handers. Shouldn't off-spinner replace Jadeja? Interesting. It is again. This is something that we discussed in the dugout, and I was of the opinion that between Jadeja and Ashwin, there is no right or wrong answer. So what do you get with a Jadeja? You get, I think, a better batsman. Between Ashwin and Jadeja, with all due respect to Ashwin, the batsman, Jadeja is clearly the better batsman.
True.
So you get that backup. If you're playing 5 fast bowlers, then I think that is what you're looking at. You need it. Because at one point, India were playing 4 bowlers.
Yeah.
In which case, then you could go in with the better spinner. But now you're playing 5 bowlers, so you need that all-round backup. And in that sense, Jadeja is a better batting option.
Yes.
But in terms of bowling, I think Ashwin is a better test bowler than Jadeja is. So I would then be going in with Ashwin. But then with 5 bowlers within Ashwin, then you're batting somewhere you end up compromising.
Yeah.
So that's the balance of the team that the team has to decide. Again, as I repeat, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer. If you to play Ashwin, there is merit in that, and I'd be okay with it. If you to play Jadeja, there's also merit in that. I think it's now the team and the captain what he may be thinking and how. I mean, if you ask me, I like aggressive captains. I'd probably go with Ashwin. I'd go with a bowler who can get me more wickets, and then I'll say fine. I'll look at my 6 batsmen, let them get me runs. If 6 can't, who knows the 7 does or not. So
Then don't forget, even Ashwin is not a bad bat, and you have
Yeah.
someone like a Shardul who's not a bad bat either.
correct. So again, those are backups, and I'd hope that they get me runs. But if I'm an attacking captain, and I prefer attacking captains, I may go with an Ashwin.
6 batsmen.
6 batsmen, Ashwin the spinner. I would do that. But again, if you go with Jadeja, not too much of a drastic change.
And there's no wrong option there, really. There's actually none.
Satyam is saying, Nikhil, why aren't you in Britain? You and Vikrant sir both planned it together. Yes, but then one of us had to be here to do some work, and then maybe next time I'll go, and then he'll be here working. But he's coming back on the 30th, so he's going to be watching the test match with us here in office, not in the UK. And then maybe next time we'll be there. It's fun here, yeah, because see what happens, I'll tell you, if one of us goes to the UK or whatever, while we can do live videos from there, we can't join these multiple chats. And when we join via Zoom, it's not the same. You can't have that.
Yeah, there's always
flow.
a worry about audio issues,
Yeah.
lag, and whatnot.
Exactly. So there's no fun that way. Okay, Ikpreet says, yesterday watching 1983 World Cup final, Nikhil Paji was doing commentary. Couldn't recognize. Yes, I was. You were watching it on Star Sports, I think. I did the commentary and the anchoring for it 2 years ago during Corona. While I was at home, sitting in the confines of my house, I did that. And you couldn't recognize me because I had a beard at the time. Yes. But I didn't know that they were repeating that final.
That particular.
Yeah, but then some people tag me on Twitter saying that, oh, when is this? Are you doing it live right now? Because they see me clean shaven and then seeing me. So I was like, no, this is from 2 years ago, 25th June. What they did was a very interesting concept by the broadcaster. What they did is they played the entire match again.
As is.
Okay. And they got the players to do commentary on it. So you had Sunny Gavaskar, Madan Lal, Sandeep Patil, Krishnachari Srikanth,
Nice.
all of them, and there were 2 moderators, me and Jatin, and we were just. I mean, we were also doing commentary, but moderating the commentary while they were the experts. And I thought that was a very interesting concept too. The same players to do commentary now on the match that they played.
Yeah, especially
so many years later.
Yeah, and especially I think a lot of them, they would be seeing things and thinking, maybe I could have done this differently.
Yeah.
There were a lot of them would have had that insight.
I know, by the way, by looking at that highlight, they also discovered a few things which, again, as a player, you have different memories. When you look at it through the broadcasters or the camera's eyes, you see
It
a lot
looks
more
different, yeah.
things which are very different. So it was very interesting. In fact, like I remember one of the things I remember. So in the highlights, there is this shot that they cut to in the highlight to the dressing room of the West Indies team, and there's Dennis Lilly sitting there, and I noticed it. And I in the commentary, and I said, Australia wasn't in the final. West Indies, Indian are playing. What is Dennis Lilly doing sitting in the balcony of the West Indies team? And then I said, and then Sunny Gavaskar was there in commentary. He said, yeah, that's very interesting. I also, saw
No
it
one
now.
realized this. Yeah.
So then he may have come in as a guest and, sat in the team. So you only realize all that when you see the commentary. But that was good. So here's the Indian 11, guys. There's Ruturaj Gaikwad, Ishan Kishan, the openers. Deepak Huda comes in,
Finally,
as I said.
yes.
Surya Kumar Yadav, we said will come
said
in.
yes.
So there's Hardik Pandya, Dinesh Karthik. They've gone with the two spinners. So Yuzi Chahal, Akshar Patel are your two spinners, and your fast bowler are Bhuvneshwar, Avesh, Umran, which means Harshal Patel.
Out, yes.
So the one change that they've done from the last series against South Africa, remember they went through those 5 T20Is without any changes. So one change that has happened is Umran has come in for Harshal. Umran gets his debut, which we'd already told you at the start. And in terms of batting, you got two changes, which had to because Pant and Shreyas Iyer are part of the test squad, so they've gone. So Sky was a natural selection, no doubt about it. He comes in, and Deepak Huda comes in. And now we can take a lot of questions. Just to let you know what the Irish captain says, he says that we would have also probably bowled first because of the weather around. So guys are excited for this series. Really important to play against one of the best teams in the world.
True.
Nice. Hardik has said we're going to be bowling, which I said. But looking at the weather, we felt bowling would be better. He's happy to be in Ireland. They're happy to have a lot of fans around. He says it's an honor to lead the Indian team. And he said, I've just backed the players and said, just go out and express yourself. Hardik has told the team. Umran Malik makes his debut. So, now let the question come in. I know a lot of questions are going to be, what's the first question that's on your mind?
Justice with Sanju Samson.
Yeah, a lot of people are going to say. But again.
But yeah, Deepak Huda was waiting his chance for 5 matches.
He was sitting on the bench. Sanju Samson wasn't part of that bench. He was. So, obviously, once a batsman who's gone and joined the test team is out, then the one who was waiting on the bench gets his chance.
Absolutely.
The other one who's gotten a chance, if people will say, but hello, Sky wasn't on the bench because he's injured.
And Sky is your first choice.
Yeah.
So
if he was not injured, forget about bench, he would have been playing that South Africa.
Exactly.
So that's
I think that's the main thing. And of course, it most likely means that you're not getting to see some others. I don't think Rahul Tripathi is playing the next game either unless something drastic happens. Yeah. Most likely.
No, so see, even if you make changes, I think you may make changes in terms of, see, Hardik you cannot. DK is still on trial, by the way, so you want to keep seeing him. So are Ishan and Ruturaj, they're also on trial. Sky was a guaranteed, but because he's coming from an injury, you
need to give him game time.
Exactly.
Yes.
So who's, again, Deepak Huda, you're giving him this one game, you're not going to tell him whether he does well or badly, whatever, you're going to get him to play another game.
At least 2 games.
Yeah.
2 years.
So there, clearly in terms of batting, I don't see a slot really open up for anyone to get a chance. In bowling, what you could do in bowling is, because Bhuvneshwar is guaranteed to go to the T20
Yeah, maybe rest him and bring in Ashley.
Yeah, yes. You say, okay, Bhuvi, we know what you offer us. So let's do that.
If we scroll up, we'll find it.
Arsalan has said, what is the purpose behind this series? World Cup preparation or fun? Well, I'll tell you what.
Fun, I doubt.
The purpose of this series, firstly, is to honor your FPC commitments. As Ireland is also a test playing side, or they of course play white ball cricket, and you have to oblige other countries also by playing series with them. I'm sure most countries in the world want India to come and play there simply because of the financial dynamics. You make a lot of money because when India plays, so rough estimate, a lot of people have said that these 2 T20 matches can fetch the Irish board enough money to sustain for the entire year. Wow. So if it does good to any upcoming side, so multiple purpose. Firstly, you're encouraging that team to do well. Secondly, you're helping them financially. Not one, of course, they're players to get that experience to be playing against a stronger team like India, financially supporting them. And then you remember, when you're going to help one team, it does come into the politics of the ICC. Again, these are unsaid things, but this is how it happens. You know that India, when the resolution needs to be passed and India wants certain votes to be passed in their favor, then these votes play a very important role. They have a voting right. So you have to look at all of these to oblige. So multiple reasons why this series is played, and I don't think anything wrong with it. And as the board secretary has said earlier, now we have such a talent pool that without compromising on one team, like a test team, you can have simultaneously playing other series.
Correct.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah, and what's the harm? I mean, it's not like if you're helping out these smaller nations financially, it's only beneficial for the sport in the long run. That you're giving an island that exposure and the money, more importantly, which would, as we said, would sustain them through the year. That's a lot of dough. And Ireland, as we know, they're not exactly the biggest nation in the world, but then that's exactly why we need to be playing these series.
I agree. So that's the one purpose why it is there. Sunidhi Mehra says Rohit misman now. I think.
Hit man, that's a joke.
Okay. Oh, that's a joke. Sorry, yeah. No, see, again, Sunidhi, being harsh, I mean, COVID is out of his control, right?
Yeah, exactly. Even if he took all precautions, there's just, no chance that he might have.
Having said that, okay, now this is, I'll spend some time talking about it, and I know what people are getting at, and I see a lot of comments. So, again, you can't blame Rohit Sharma for this because it's COVID, anyone could get it. As we've reported earlier, Virat Kohli also got it after his holiday, and so did Ravichandran and Ashwin. Okay, but there's one thing which I think that the Indian team, and maybe we need to ponder over and we'll discuss it going forward. One thing that the Indian team now really needs to look at, because Rohit Sharma is prone to getting injured quite often, that this is not an injury, this is COVID, mind you. But you may have to look at either two different captains. So he's also a stopgap captain in the sense.
Again, not a long-term option.
3-4 years, whatever, how long Rohit plays. So then, and because if he's going to be injured and not available for a lot of series, do you start looking at another captain? All I'm saying is, so 6 captains already been tried in the last 1 year, and I think that is an indication that the BCCI or the Indian management is actually looking for the next leader.
True.
They
always knew Rohit was a stopgap option once Virat decided to hang up.
Maybe now, see, earlier, again, things may have changed. Earlier, they may have thought, okay, let's continue for 2-3 years with Rohit and then decide. Maybe they need to now do it now. Maybe in one format.
True.
So, I'm not saying Rohit plays that. Rohit continues to play all formats, of course. But because he may, sometime because of injuries, have to miss out a few series here and there, might as well have a different captain for white ball. You could think of that.
You could let him just
and
be
he plays
a
white
player.
ball.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. For
be
whichever
there as a player.
series he's available. But I think now they won't do it because now the T20 World Cup is there. So I'm not saying immediately. Post T20 World Cup.
Or maybe, they might just take away if you want to say, step away from the T20I captaincy because
after the T20.
Yes, after the World Cup. Because remember, the next World Cup coming up, 50-over World Cup, you'd not want to be tinkering with captaincy of all things.
You could do that. Maybe keep him one day test and
put maybe KL Rahul, who they clearly see as a leadership option.
Okay. So, unfortunately, rain update suggests that sharp rain is coming up. So, play is not going to start as planned. And there are strong winds also blowing across, so which is not great news. This is the latest news from there. So, it's not looking good. India, we were expecting they'll come out to bowl. It's not going to happen. It is raining now, slightly heavier compared to earlier in Dublin. So, not great news. Now, when the match will start, we'll of course give you live updates about that a little later. But for the moment, we can take a few questions. Abhi Adhikari and a lot of other people have pointed it out that
India winning a toss is a rarity at this point.
Yeah, and people said the captain win toss is also rarity. So thumbs up to Hardik Pandya.
You got that part right at least.
Yeah. Akash is saying, sir, is it right that Bumrah is the captain? As you said, that Akash most likely you will go to Bumrah because he was the vice captain in the series prior to this. Again, they have not nominated a vice captain for this series. So, you don't know. But again, I'm assuming that you've kept the same vice captain, in which case Bumrah is. Karthik Banta is saying Arshdeep in place of Akshar would have been a good option, and I agree with him.
Yeah, because they don't need this much batting against an Ireland.
No, I don't think you need 2 spinners.
That too.
And you already got the second spinner in Huda. In case.
Yeah, you need 2 overs. He can roll his arm over.
I think with these conditions, with rain around, and in fact, before the toss, we were discussing on Sports Today. And that's where I said that, maybe going with that extra fast bowler. Then Arshdeep could have played for Akshar. So I was surprised actually Akshar is there, and I agree with you. GGK, very naughty. He's saying, will there be a report tomorrow that Harshal has got COVID?
Oh, I hope not.
I know that it is tongue-in-cheek and you are being sarcastic, but it is not that case. And I know he's referring to the entire fiasco with Rohit Sharma, but don't take COVID lightly. Don't joke about it. So Rishabh, a good question. Is there more possibility of cases in the Indian camp? Could happen
Perhaps
because
because Rohit's case
Yeah.
was caught at the last minute, so he would have been mingling prior to that. So,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. A lot of people are saying that rain has stopped. No, the latest we've just told you, rain has not stopped. In fact, it's coming down harder now. That's the latest. So match is not starting on time for sure. Kishore Chaudhary is saying, why not Sanju? You want to explain? Already explained it. Maybe one more
we
time.
just did. I mean, because the thing is that when you have a middle order batsman there already on the bench for 5 games, didn't get a look in. Logically speaking, if you're going to be rotating, and they had to rotate because there's no Pant or Shreyas, both are in the test team, then you would go to the guy who was on the bench beforehand rather than a Sanju who's just flown in for this particular series. So that was the only logical option. Would have been harsh on Deepak Huda. 5 matches on the bench and then
Yeah.
overlooked for someone who was
And then
not
someone
there.
who comes for this series supersedes him and then goes
Exactly.
into
Then
the-
what does that say to him about his chances of getting a
Yeah.
look in?
No, then don't select him. If you're
Exactly.
not good enough, then tell him, hey, listen,
Hmm.
we don't have faith in you. We're looking at somebody else.
Yes, as Suraj points out, heavy rainfall indeed. Not a good sign.
Yeah, Suraj is pointing that out. Yes, heavy rainfall. True. Akash is saying, given a choice, Vihari Open or do you see KS Open? I've answered that earlier.
I think it'll most likely be Vihari playing, not as an
No,
opener maybe.
Open, it will be
Pujara.
Pujara and
Shubman.
I don't think KS gets a chance there. Again,
Again, to be fair, he had a good warm-up game, but warm-up game
Yeah.
and international, they're two very different kettle of fish.
correct. And then Vihari comes 3 and Shreyas at 5.
Hmm.
Rest you know the batting order.
Yes.
Okay, Hardik is saying, Hardik, not Pandya, I'm guessing. He could join the chat. He's sitting in the dressing room there. Rain
Exactly,
is
just,
there.
just open your phone.
Join, yeah. So is Hanuma Vihari too defensive? He doesn't find scoring opportunity.
I think that's an unfortunate perception that's kind of stuck with him.
But he's a test player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
First off, there's no such thing as too defensive if you're a test player. Pujara gets hit with the same brick bat, which I find weird.
I'm saying you're getting runs in test match cricket. That's what matters. Get us runs, and the fans are happy. Everyone is happy.
And unfortunately for Vihari, he's become something of a fall guy. When he
Yeah.
was doing well, his batting order would be tinkered with, or he'd be dropped for no reason.
Open,
First open, play low down the order, middle order, poor
then
guy.
dropped.
And then dropped
forgotten.
entirely.
Then sent to 8 over. So yeah,
And then
poor guy.
was playing IPL somehow.
Yeah, poor guy. Yash is saying, why not Venkatesh Iyer in place of Akshar Patel? Also, you could have looked at, but again, I repeated this earlier. I think Venkatesh Iyer is a back of a Hardik. So you're not going to have 2 fast bowling all rounders in the team. I doubt that offers you anything different.
Yeah, because and I mean Venkatesh's bowling is best suited to Indian pitches. His
I
slow
mean,
dibbly
again,
dobblies.
that's conjecture. He may do well there. I don't know.
Huh.
But again, for the balance of the team, in fact, you go with a out and out bowler.
Yeah, actually, it would make more
Yeah,
sense to
because you
replace.
got Huda there anyway.
Yeah.
Do the spinning.
And
job. I
plus
know.
you and in these conditions, I don't think you need more than one. You have Yuzi there as your full-time spinner.
Yep. Yep. So, what is Kushal saying? 3 international matches going on right now, 2 of them hampered by rain, and the one going on in England is in one of that. What are the chances? That is true.
That is actually correct.
That's Kushal, very smart.
Very smart.
3 matches happening, just to sum up what Kushal is saying, 3 matches happening, and one which has not been affected by rain is happening in England.
Yes, my God.
Would you believe it? It's true. Stranger things happen. What are full opportunities of a full match? It's raining heavily and there's not great. It's
I
not
mean, it's
like,
already 9 o'clock.
yeah.
The match should have been starting
It'll
now.
be shortened. I think if another hour and a half or 2 hours you don't start, they'll start cutting overs.
So-
And good chance that might happen because firstly the rain is heavy and then it's not the greatest facilities there in terms of drainage like you had
In say
in a
the
few other
Chinnaswamy.
grounds.
Yeah.
So
And remember, even Chinnaswamy ended up getting washed out due to incessant
Correct.
rain. So I think last
whatever
match.
match we are happy.
Yeah, last match I remember after 1 hour 20 minutes was when the over started going away. So,
Something similar.
so let's see.
Yep. Mridul is saying, can we have something like the Champions League governed by the ICC?
We do have a Champions Trophy.
Yeah,
If
but
you have
that's
to go that
country,
way.
but I'm talking about clubs.
We did.
Yeah, we did have that. which
I don't think
didn't-
there was that much
yeah.
interest for the non-India matches, that is.
There are plenty of reasons behind it, for which we'll do another video someday, because that will take me
I
half
like
an hour
that
to explain.
tournament. It was a very fun tournament.
Yeah, but it just didn't catch up with the fans, and there was no revenue coming in. Television ratings weren't great.
Great, yeah.
So one of the major reasons, just to sum up, was that you had to play. You can't have it across the world, right?
True.
So now what happens in English? You do home and away. Now you can't do home and away. You can't travel because there's so much of other calendar.
Exactly.
So what you can only do is like have a host country. When you do host country, what about a team from the West Indies is playing team from Australia? Even if you're playing in India, it'll be to an empty ground. Nobody will come in. So plenty of issues. It just didn't catch up.
Yeah, logistically, I think it was a little ahead of its time. Maybe if we reach a point where, cricket is mostly franchise-based, then you could see it.
Yeah.
So what it is basically to club football now, you have, mostly clubs playing. So you can have a Champions League. And now probably not so much. No.
Yeah. On that note, we'll take your leave because it's raining heavily. But if there are any latest updates, we'll come back live, give it to you. The team has been announced, just to sum up. Umran Malik making the debut. 2 other changes in the team, that Deepak Hooda, Surya Kumar have come in because Pant and Shreyas Iyer are in the test squad. Until
Whenever we
latest,
don't really know. Because
update. Bye bye from
Bye-bye.
us. Take care. Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.